So कल हम आपको बता रहे थे about this new study जो Zurich International Life ने reveal किया है survey जहाँ पे 3 in 10 parents in UAE have a children's education saving plan. Only 3 in 10. और ये GCC survey था ये. So to talk more about that, we've got Taru Singhal with us, responsible for managing the 2 regional distribution channels supporting IFAs and banks to develop the sales at Zurich International Life. And इसके पहले Taru held the head of business development role with FGB as well, with FAB. Taru has been in the financial services industry for over 26 years and काफी extensive इनका introduction है. But yeah, welcome. Such a pleasure to speak to you today.
Good morning and thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Indeed, and quickly हम अपने listeners को remind करवाएंगे कि numbers note कर लीजिए. बीच में बातचीत के कभी-कभार आपके जहन में कोई सवाल आ जाता है, and we'll make the most of his presence right here. 0586861003. Number to call us 808-1003, a toll-free number.
So 3 in 10 parents have a savings plan. This was the survey result that was revealed. Taru, if you could tell us more about it.
Sure. Thank you again. For me personally, it was a real eye-opener, and I'm sure it would be for a lot of parents who are listening to us today. And the real idea was to create awareness in terms of so that we are all prepared for something that will be coming our way sometime in the future. And it's nothing else but just to be ready for life in simple terms.
Right.
I think the key insights from my perspective are parents broadly knew where they wanted to send their children for study, which was good news. So UAE topped that ranking, followed by the US, Canada, and the UK. What was really a surprise was, as you rightly said, only 30% of those who were surveyed were actually saving something.
So is it surprising?
Yeah. It is really a surprising, and it's, if you really think about it, it's worrying as well, because this is your children's education that we're talking about, and I'm sure every parent wants the absolute best for their children in whatever they can. I'm sure mums there, they would be thinking about saving a little savory something for them so that that child could enjoy that later on. So every parent does absolutely everything possible, little sacrifices all made for their children. So this was a surprise that a lot of parents perhaps have left it too late.
Sure.
One more thing which was interesting was 8 out of 10 couples in the UAE use up to 40% of their monthly income just to pay the tuition fee.
I was so surprised with this figure because, the rental and then your expenses. I mean, how do you allocate 40%?
I would say, yes, it feels like a mountain, but I'm sure a mountain also can be conquered by little steps. So I would say start early. Start as early as you can. And I wish I had heard this radio.
But the school fees in our times and now they are,
absolutely,
huge.
Absolutely. But again, I would say in today's date, parents do register their child for their school the time they're born. I think this is another step that they could take. Start small, okay? It doesn't have to be a mammoth amount. Just start small, build it up. Don't forget to top it up every so often that you can, because that's also very important, all right? And if in doubt, ask around, look for help. There are people who can help us.
There are always people to advise and guide you.
Absolutely.
So we have these strategies set up. Sometimes there are disadvantages as well of these strategy, but then as you say that, systematically probably going forward with it. So what are the steps people can take, start off with?
I would say it will start with, first of all, size up the opportunity in terms of how much would it be required. Okay. Then work towards reaching that goal. Okay. Don't forget to have almost like an inflation factor, because you touched upon it. When we were growing up, cost of education was not there. So for those parents who perhaps have got blessed just now, thinking about their children's education, in 20 years, $100 or 100 dirhams is not going to be worth exactly
the same. But then again, everything has, even your
income.
Yes, your income has
not
increased
at that
as
level.
well.
Yeah,
not at that level.
Not exactly, but then again, it's there was a time when maybe let's say 20,000 dirhams a month was not very common. But nowadays, it's just a basic
salary?
Requirement.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're hitting it. And I think one key message, and sorry to bring in Mamin, but I'm actually happy to bring in my family in it. My son has just turned 18 last month.
And the
first learning that I've given to him is buying him an insurance policy with savings element to it.
Amazing.
Because I think by the time he is my age, there should be a little corpus that's built up for him.
Correct.
Okay, and nothing beats that.
Correct.
Because if you start early, little steps take you very, very far.
And again, I'm wondering that if 30% parents plan for their children's education or for their future, what are those 70% doing?
That was the worrying element, because we've seen from the survey, a lot of people take loans, dip into their savings, borrow from friends, family. And again, a word of caution out there, whilst that may work for a lot of them, and I hope it works for all of them. But again, I want to take you to another fact that was shared by my son a couple of years ago. During COVID times, I still remember it very clearly. One of his friends in the neighborhood, the parent passed away during COVID.
Okay.
And what that led to was that child had to be pulled out of school, mid-school, only because the surviving parent could not afford continuing with the education.
Sure.
Now, this could have been avoided if there was a proactive step that was taken a few years ago to say, okay, I want my child is my responsibility. I would set aside a sum of money for their further education. However, what if I don't? And that's where insurance plans comes in, quite handy, which gives you that peace of mind. And strongly would say during COVID time, we've seen that it provides that very required peace of mind, that stability, that sure something happened to me, which I wasn't planning to.
True.
There's that cushion which will look after the family, and the family can continue. No one can replace the loss of a parent or a loved one, but financially, it can basically, you can pass on that risk to somebody else, i.e. the insurance companies.
Correct, yeah. And the life insurance plans, education plan, savings plan. What I love about Zurich International is the critical illness plan. I mean, it's affordable. You get those money back as well eventually if, you reach the maturity. So I'm sure there are many which, people need to think of. But the ones that you mentioned, the life insurance, that has to be at number one?
Me personally, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely spot on. So before I started an insurance policy which was protecting my family the day my son was born, 18 years ago. And 10 years ago is when I started planning for his university. And I'm so fortunate that I attended one of the seminars that was organized by one of the financial advisors, where I had an idea in terms of it will cost so much money to send someone.
Yeah.
But sad to say that my estimates were 20% of what it was going to be. So that
Wow.
was an awakening to say, okay, it is much more than that. Because in our simple, I'll call myself simple, to say it's only the cost of education that we need to fund. How about the living cost for the child?
Correct.
How about mom?
Right.
Because she's missing the child every 3 months going over to a university which is several thousand miles away, right? Those are little cost of hotels, accommodation, flights, those things.
The hidden cost.
Yes, you can say that. It's in front of us, but it is very easily ignored. And those all add up.
Now, in an ideal world, that's how you would advise, Taru, that, prepare and as early as possible is the key.
Yeah.
However, there, especially these times or such times where, it's more hand to mouth, whatever you're earning is spent even before the month is over. That's where the real challenge lies, that, how to handle that kind of a situation. Is it more of patience is the key, or there are still ways that you might get slow, but you won't stop or quit?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. And I would again say, it doesn't matter whether you're saving even 100 dirhams a month.
Okay.
Discipline is really the key, okay? Because what you need to understand is that even if you're disciplinedly saving 100 dirhams, in 10 years, that could amount to 12,000 dirhams,
Sure.
okay? Which may or may not be ideal. So think about it as a journey. If you started on a journey, it might take you midway or 3/4 of the way, but at least you started on the journey. And that's where I would want to link back to what I started off with. Don't forget to increase it every so often that you can,
Yes,
okay?
because times change.
Absolutely. And as your income goes up or whatever, and everything comes at a price, which is again linking back to sacrifices that moms make. Okay, so this is about sacrifice. So if you need to cut down on that one meal a month at the cost of saving your family, my hand is up. I'll do that. Okay, so and that's what people have to make a conscious effort to say, it's not all lost. We have to start, and we have to be prepared to make those sacrifices.
We got a question from Kamran right now. He's suddenly awakened by your
Good morning, Kamran.
words. He's saying, my son is 1 year old.
Yes.
What steps should I start with?
Good question.
I would say, first of all, thank you for having us again. First thing would be, Kamran, start saving some amount. Okay, start with 5%, 10%, 100 dirhams, 500 dirhams, whatever, and come what may, you should not touch that money. Okay? Do it in the way that you're comfortable with. You want to save it in a bank account initially, that's absolutely fine, because what is important is you need to get used to not having that amount of money on a monthly basis.
Sure.
Once you have that, look out for a systematic investment plan. Come to Zurich. We'll gladly help you to do that, and do whatever you can commit to for a longer period of time, because your son is going to be ready to go to university in about 17 years' time, so you've got a good start. That's where I will start.
We also got another question. In fact, question nahi hai, Mirza. He's saying that this is exactly what I've done. When my son was 2 years, I started saving small amount, 1,000 dirhams every month. Now my son is going to school 4.5 years. I'm very much satisfied from my decision, because I am stress free for the next 2 years. I don't have to worry about the school fees.
Mashallah, Mirza.
Thank you.
Good on you. Continue to be, doing the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Taru, also another question that comes to mind. क्या हम parents ने ये भी अब सोच लिया है, where आप, in your teens, in your 20s, you are seeing millionaires and billionaires. So some might be thinking कि बड़ा होगा और पढ़ेगा भी, काम भी करेगा, जिंदगी भी अपनी practical world में जल्दी आ जाएगा, जल्दी सीख लेगा. Is that also a thought process?
I'm sure it's a part of my assumption anyways, where it's that fear of unknown. We don't know, okay, and I'm sure there are parents there who may have younger children, and they don't know which part of the world the child is going to go to university, so it's very difficult to understand. However, I'm sure we can all work with averages, and if they can do better, very good. We can use that for our holiday, because ultimately, let's not forget, this child's education is only one of the many responsibility that parents have to bear. Don't forget, people must be thinking about buying a first house, their retirement, emergency cash. There are multiple envelopes that they need to fulfill or fill into. All right, and just filling one will mean that there are other three which get ignored, and that's not the idea. They have to pull in. So.
And here, Taru, if you can just give a brief idea about the products that Zurich has to offer, and a little bit of idea on that front.
So proud to say that we at Zurich have been around in the region for over 37 years. The parent company has been there for about 150 years.
That's right.
We operate out of 210 territories, 56,000 employees. So we got all your solutions covered. So depending on which life stage yourself are, so whether you're a young parent, you're single, whether you are in your mid-ages or thinking about retirement, protection, which is the insurance, and the saving products, we've got that. I would say try and not do it yourself. It is one mistake that people do. This is where a financial advisor always comes in very, very handy. They are people who are professionals. I would actually term them as doctors in financial terms, who can find out where do you stand and what is the course correction that you need. I'm sure the listener can relate to one element. If you want to lose weight, I'm sure a lot of us do that. I have done that, which is, I think I know it all, which is, I need to hit the gym.
Been there, done that.
Dieting, nutrition.
And then 15 days later, I'm the same one complaining to my family, saying, I cannot see the results. However, if you pay, and this is where it comes in, if you avail of the services of a professional, which is a fitness trainer, they'll say, boss, the problem is not in your workout, it is what you're eating, all right? Perhaps let's change that, or a nutritionist, right? And these are all people who play an important part in the life. So I would say try and avoid the urge to do it yourself. Leave it to the experts who can guide you all throughout and make sure that you end up where you need to.
Taru, how would you break this mindset where people think that, because loans itni aasani se milte hai, chahe wo education ho, personal ho, home ho, car ho, how would you break that mindset that, loan to mil jayega, I'll keep paying installment. What's the problem?
Absolutely. And that's one thing which I would say, it comes back to discipline. If you can afford it and you want to take the loan, absolutely no two ways to it. But again, link back to the instance that I shared with you. If you've taken a loan and God forbid if something was to happen to the main breadwinner, that will be devastating for the family.
Indeed.
All right. So
there's an insurance protecting it, no?
We've got plans which start for as little as 3 dirhams a day. So, I mean, cost of a family breakfast meal at a South Indian place, that's the cost of the plan you're talking about. Protect yourself. It's all affordable. It's all in the mind with regards to flexibility, and I can't afford it. Yes, but you'll have to sacrifice somewhere to have that protection.
Superb, yaar. I mean, बहुत सारे, thoughts, questions.
Yes, and it's the products are there to help you,
Right.
but sometimes the awareness and the seriousness of it at times doesn't hit us until the real deal hits us or the, God forbid, tragedy hits us. So I think, presence of people like yourself is a good time as a good reminder and knowledge.
And is there any myth that we need to, probably clear in terms of insurance, life insurance especially?
Yes, definitely. And I think it's the insurance industry's well-known myth. It's
Claim.
called the Superman and Superwoman syndrome.
कि मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा.
हाँ, मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा. Everybody else around
True.
me will get.
अभी recent times में
True.
COVID-19 हमें लगता है सबको हो जाएगा.
Absolutely.
मुझे नहीं होगा, yeah.
Bilkul. And that's something which we call it transfer of risk. It's not about if it will happen, it's about when it'll happen. So have that peace of mind. Buy yourself an insurance policy and transfer the risk to insurance companies who will pay out that amount to your
That's a nice
beneficiaries.
way of putting it.
And I think next time, we're running out of time, but next time when you come, I think we would love to see this figure going up where 3 in 10 parents have a children's education saving plan. It should be at least 5 in 10, right?
Absolutely, and that's where I think I need to express my gratitude towards yourself as well, because it's all about creating that awareness. So if there are only a few people that do something about it today, I think we will have achieved.
Happy to do that, Taru, and I think
Absolutely.
it's a wake-up call for many, including us at times, because we know it, like I said, but a good reminder or two every now and then is very, very useful. So thank you for coming down.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine.